Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Macmillan Online Teachers' Days. My name is Louise Connolly, and I am the Head of Educational Consultants and Teacher Training at Macmillan. It's my pleasure now to introduce Adrian Underhill. Again, I think I don't need to make much of an introduction. You all have come across Adrian in many different contexts. You all know that he is a consultant and teacher trainer. He worked for many years as a teacher in many different contexts and different countries. He's series editor of Macmillan Books, author of Sounds Foundation, award-winning author of Sounds Apps, which I think has made its way all around the world now. And we are really delighted to have him here today to talk to us about how to find new sounds that are not in one's mother tongue. Welcome, Adrian.
Thank you very much, Louise, and thanks to all of you for being here. I can't see you, but I know you're there. It's a great pleasure to be here and speaking to you. I believe that pronunciation is a marvelous way of bringing language to life and life to language and enthusing our learners. And I want to share with you some new activities as ways of approaching this enjoyment and I should say successful enjoyment of pronunciation. Pronunciation is physical. That means to say it's something that one has to do with one's body, like dance or yoga or gymnastics. It is not just a thinking thing like grammar or vocabulary, which you can think and solve kind of cognitive puzzles. Pronunciation is physical, and I'm going to be showing you some ways of approaching that physicality and inviting you to try it out while you're watching. So don't just think this, do it, and we'll see how we get on. So, shall I continue?
Yes.
Here we go. Here's the first 4 slides and then some activities. This is just by way of introduction. The first thing to say is that pronunciation is not just an end in itself. The whole point of pronunciation is easy, comfortable intelligibility in connected speech. So pronunciation serves connected speech. The second thing to say is that pronunciation is already everywhere. You cannot get away from pronunciation. Even when you think new language, you are hearing it in your inner ear in a pronunciation. The inner voice has a pronunciation. Even if you never teach pronunciation, your students are hearing internally pronunciation all the time. And if we don't teach a new pronunciation, then we learn new language with the pronunciation of mother tongue. So it's already happening. Every lesson is a pronunciation lesson. Every single second of every lesson is a pronunciation lesson. And the third thing I want to say is teach your own accent. Don't worry, whatever it is, you teach how you speak. If you are learning pronunciation as you teach, that's fine, that's great. You'll be doing that. But teach how you speak. And at the same time, expose students to multiple other accents. And the last thing on this slide that I want to say, which is kind of like saying pronunciation is physical. There's a big difference between knowing about pronunciation, which is the kind of thing you do when you study a teacher training course, or you read the theory, or you read about linguistics, or you do a diploma or postgrad course. There's a big difference between knowing about and proprioceptive knowing. Now, proprioceptive knowing means body knowing, physical knowing. Proprioception is simply the sense of what your muscles are doing. Proprioception is something that we all have. If you do not have proprioception, it's very hard to learn any physical skill. Running, walking, typing, a musical instrument, abseiling, and so on. You cannot do this without proprioception, which is the sensing of what your muscles are doing. And we're going to go straight into that in a moment. So as you can already guess, this is about embodied pronunciation, not just thinking pronunciation or cognitive pronunciation, but doing stuff. Now, you may perhaps disagree with me here, but my view is this, that our current methodology that all of us learn about, more or less, is dominated by a cognitive representation. That is a thinking representation of pronunciation, a thinking representation of what goes on in the mouth, but what goes on is physical. And what we're about to do is concerned with simply 4 muscle buttons, what I call muscle buttons. I call them buttons because people like buttons. I don't like to use Latin and Greek words for these and make them a sort of kind of linguistic jargon out of it. They're buttons, and there are basically 4, which if your students reconnect with those 4 and press them, they can make all the sounds of all languages. It needs some practice, but it opens up everything. What are those 4 buttons? You already know it. The first one is lips, and lips simply spread, or they round and go forward. That's basically all that lips do. Makes a big difference though. Tongue basically goes forward and back. It can curl up a little bit, and that's the movement of the tongue. The jaw goes up and down, so it closes and opens. When it closes, the lips are more spread. When it opens, the lips are more open, obviously. And when it opens, the tongue has more room to move about. And finally, button number 4 is the voice. The voice can be on, or it can be off, like when I whisper. If I whisper, the voice is off. If I speak normally, the voice is on most of the time. Those are the 4 buttons. And I'm going to be using those when we look at the sounds in a moment. The final point here is that unless teachers know what they're doing in their mouths, it's very hard to help students. If you don't know what's happening in here, and I don't mean know by reading books, not that kind of know. You can read books about pronunciation if you want, but that's not the knowing I'm talking about. The knowing I'm talking about is that there is a word being said, a student is having difficulty, so you, the teacher, go into your own mouth, find what it is that your mouth is doing. Maybe you also find what it is the student's mouth is doing. And when you know those 2 things, you can help. Unless you know that, you can't help. If you don't know what you're doing, all you can say to your students is, "Dear students, repeat after me." Of course, what you should say is, "Dear students, I don't know what I'm doing, but repeat after me." But usually we just say, "Repeat after me." But repeat after me is of limited help. You cannot learn a new habit by repetition. You cannot repeat your way out of the habit of your mother tongue. You have to do something else. What? I'm saying contact the physicality through those 4 buttons. So, 2 solutions to the problems that teachers face with pronunciation. The first one, which I keep saying, and I will keep on saying it, is physicality. Make pronunciation physical. Just because grammar and vocabulary are cognitive, it does not mean that pronunciation is going to work by being cognitive. It is physical. You cannot learn dance cognitively. Pronunciation is a dance. So, problem 1, pronunciation is a physical activity, therefore the solution, teach it physically. Get behind the habit of the mother tongue by reconnecting with the muscles that make the difference. How? Through the 4 buttons. And as I say on the slide, pronunciation is more like teaching dance than it is like teaching grammar. And I've mentioned this word before, proprioception. This is actually a term from neurology. It's a term from neurology, and it ought to be used all the time in pronunciation, because what it means is knowing what your muscles are doing, and in this case, in the mouth, knowing what the tongue, the lips, and the jaw are doing. It's very easy. It's very easy to do that. We all have this possibility, but we tend not to focus on it in language learning. And the second is the chart. Now, pronunciation seems to many students and indeed teachers to be a kind of mysterious thing. What is pronunciation? Where is it? How do I get hold of the sounds? Why do they keep disappearing? We can't put them on paper. We can put grammar on paper, we can put vocabulary on paper, but we can't really put sounds on paper. They come in the ear and then they're gone. Is there a map of this stuff? And the answer is yes, there is a map, a geographic map, a kinesthetic map that can guide us around the mouth. And this map, which I'm going to show you in just a second, this map has all the sounds of English for all the words and all connected speech. It's a very simple map. It has everything on it. It shows how and where sounds are made, how the sounds affect each other. And it shows that we need, really, because they affect each other, to learn all sounds together. Not a long sequence, a syllabus like with grammar over many years, but with sounds, we need to have them all available from the first lesson, gradually improving together. They affect each other. So we have them all available and gradually they all get better. Some are already good, some are less good depending on the mother tongue. So let's now do some practical work, and let me also show the chart which is here. And what you can see here is the chart, which is available, by the way, from Macmillan. And Louise is just setting up here behind us the chart which we're going to use now. And I'm going to take you through some activities which are physical activities, but which explore how to use the chart, and also, most especially, the subject of this session, how to help students to find new sounds, how to help ourselves find new sounds also. So let's just bring it in a bit.
A little bit, yes.
Now, I hope that you can see here my pointer on the chart. Is that right? Okay, so what's here is the vowels upstairs, the consonants downstairs, and here we have the mouth. The front of the mouth, there's the teeth, top of the mouth, bottom of the mouth, back of the mouth. Vowels at the front with the tongue at the front. As the tongue moves back, we get the further back vowels. Open the mouth, at the tongue at the front, tongue at the back. Open the mouth a bit more, tongue at the front, tongue at the back. Don't worry about phonetic symbols. They're not actually important, and you'll see. Here are the diphthongs arranged according to the second sound. And here are the consonants, the stop sounds from front of the mouth to back of the mouth. Here are the friction sounds from front of the mouth to back of the mouth. Here are the nasal sounds from front of the mouth to back of the mouth. And here are some little bits and pieces. You can find out more about this from the Macmillan website, where I have 40 videos which go each of 3 minutes, which take you on a journey around each sound. And you can also see complete lessons introducing the chart to students also on YouTube. And you can go to my blog, or you can go to the Macmillan website, and you can find the link to all of these YouTube videos. So now, let's have a look at how to help students to find new sounds. And for today, what I'm going to focus on is helping students to find one sound from another. You see, all the sounds in the mouth are kind of interconnected, and wherever you are, you can find another sound by just moving something very small from there. So wherever you are in the mouth, you can look around and you can see all the sounds. They're all within reach. And that's the benefit of a physical approach. Let me show you. The first thing which we can find from the chart is that each of these pairs is unvoiced, voiced, unvoiced, voiced, unvoiced, voiced, unvoiced, voiced. So in fact there's only 4 positions there, but you can make 8 according to whether you voice it or whether you don't voice it. So we have, same in this row, the friction sounds. But then we can voice it, and so on. Now, here's the first activity for you. If you look at me, can you see what sound I'm making, even though I won't say the sound? My teeth are here on the lip. And if I make the sound, it is And if you make the sound, it should be the same. With consonants, there are always two surfaces in the mouth that come together to make that particular sound. What are the surfaces with this sound here? It's the teeth, the top teeth, and the bottom lip. So make that sound. Now, let me ask you a question. When you make that sound, where is the tip of your tongue? Okay? Strange question. Make the sound, and the tip of your tongue is not being used, but where is it? Well, as you notice, it's behind these teeth, doing nothing. Now, suppose you take, while we are saying this sound, take the tip of the tongue forward to replace the bottom lip against the teeth. So you're saying this, bring the tongue forward to replace the lip. And when I do that, when I replace the lip with the tongue, I get, and immediately I've discovered a new sound just by moving the tongue forward. You get the students to focus on one place, the two surfaces that come together, and then help them to change one of the surfaces. In this case, we put the tongue in that position, giving us this. Now, if we voice this, add the voice, you get this one. If I voice this one, let's take another example. Make this sound here, and you can all make that one. And there are two surfaces which come together here. The top of the tongue at the front, and the hard bit just behind the teeth, the ridge just behind the teeth. Make that sound. And what you're doing is you're bringing the tongue together, but just leaving enough air, enough space for air to come out. If you push the tongue hard up, the sound will stop. If you have the tongue too much down, the air comes out but no sound. If you have the tongue in the right place, we get. Now, while you are saying this, slowly move the tongue back along the top of the mouth. All I'm doing is sliding the tongue back a few millimeters along the top of my mouth, and you're doing the same. And we get a quite different English sound, just by that slide of a few millimeters. Of course, if we voice this sound, same place, everything the same, but we add the voice. And now if I slide this one, I slide the tongue back and I get the voiced version. So what we've done in those examples that I've given so far is just to take one sound, this one, and create this one. This one and create this one. This one and create this one. Out of this, create this. Out of this, slide back and create this. Slide back and create this. So by taking any one sound, we can then take a little trip, a little excursion to another sound by just moving one of those things. And the thing that we move is usually the tongue or the lips and sometimes the jaw. Those are the three things that move. And we may introduce the voice or stop the voice. All vowels are voiced, of course. Most consonants are voiced, but in these two rows, they are in pairs, as I said before, some unvoiced. Now, going back to the slide, we have done the first three on the slide, and I'd like now to show you the fourth one. So in this fourth one, we're going to slide back, first the unvoiced, from here to here to here, only by moving the tongue a few millimeters. So we get tongue back, shh, or just sliding the tongue. If we voice it, you have to put the voice in. It kind of is a bit less easy than when it's unvoiced. The voice is going, the tongue is moving back. Now, you try that again. So make this one. Hold that one and tongue back further. If If you take the tongue back further from here, suddenly there's nothing at the top of your mouth because the mouth is curved. So the tongue goes back and the air can come over the top easily. And you have the English R. So here's another way of arriving at this sound is to do that sequence. And you see, again, we're just arriving at new sounds by starting from old sounds and just moving one thing. Here are 1 or 2 more. If you make this sound, but let me mime the sound first. It looks like this. So you can see my lips are closed and it comes from my nose. Why does the air come out of my nose? Because the lips are closed. Is the sound. And it's here. Now, if you make this position but don't speak, like this, no speaking. Now, instead of saying this, so I'm here, she just said, You see, the position is the same. It's the 2 lips exact, but we do something different. We just release the air. For this one, we get or p. So same position, but you do something different. Or we could do this. Ba. Ba. And this is the same position. We release the air, but this time it's voiced. So what we find from this is that these 3 sounds all come from one position. 1 position, 3 sounds. See, it's an economical approach. Now, try this one. If I mime the sound, I'm not going to speak. Now you can see that it's coming from the nose. The mouth is open, but somehow the air does not come from the mouth. And we get this sound. And if you pinch your nose, you will show yourself that the air comes from your nose. When you pinch your nose, the sound should stop. If the sound carries on, then you have discovered a new sound. So in this one, the air is stopped by the tongue. But supposing, make this shape. Hold the shape, but don't speak. And instead, so this is the shape, position. So it's exactly the same position, but we do something different and get another sound. Or we could do the voiced version, same shape. Duh. Take this shape, but don't speak. And instead say this, duh. So from this shape, we can also make this sound and this sound. Also, from this shape, make this shape but don't speak. You just release the tongue and the air comes over the top. It's the same shape, same position as that, but when you get here, you just release the tongue a little and the air comes over the top of the tongue and you have a quite different sound from this one. Let the air over the top. Or if we keep the voice, zzz. So from this position, 5 sounds. In this position, 3 sounds. In this position, 5 sounds. And in this position, which is like also nasal, but we stop with the throat. We have k, k, and g. They're from exactly the same position. So this means that there are 3 sounds here, 5 sounds here, 3 sounds here. So from just these 3 positions, you're getting 11 English consonants, nearly half. Nearly half English consonants come from 3 positions. So what's the problem with pronunciation? Why do people have a problem? Everything, it's all only on 1 page for a start. There's no page 2. This is page 1, the end. There's no second page here. Everything is here for sounds, for words, for connected speech. And half the sounds are connected to all the other sounds anyway. Why do we make it so difficult? My theory is we make it difficult because we try to make it cognitive. In fact, pronunciation is physical, like dance. It's more like a subtle dance. We should be talking about the choreography of pronunciation.
So you're saying also that we need to create activities and opportunity constantly.
Exactly.
For students to physically play around with
exactly that. The whole thing is a play. The mouth becomes a playground. We take the student into the mouth and we move around inside.
Okay, because Blanca, thank you, has a question. She wants to know if we should make students, or should students be familiar with the chart? Should they see this, and should they? She wants to know to what extent.
My view is that it's a great help for students to see this, not to learn it. They don't learn the chart. The chart is like a whiteboard. You don't learn the whiteboard. You just use it for your grammar and vocab. You don't learn the chart. You just use it for pointing out pronunciation. And when a student gets a sound, you can say, yeah, it's that one, or yeah, it's that one, or yeah, it's that one. Or this word that we want, it's made of these sounds. So you can point out. It's especially useful in the case of the vowels, because the vowels are a bit slippery. They're hard. It's hard to find the exact position of a vowel.
Exactly. I just remember back to my own teaching experience when I became aware of the sounds chart. Well, I had it in my classroom on the wall, and we did actually, you'll probably go, horror of horrors. We did drilling exercises and also and using, but I didn't understand. I honestly didn't understand the connection. I didn't see this as a mouth, as something physical, and how the sound is, you know, by making this slow millimeter change, physical change in the mouth, I'm creating another sound. So in actual fact, I think I don't know what I did with my students now.
Well, I think it's a very good point you're making, Louise. I think one of the things we tend to do is because we, as teachers, are not aware of what we're doing in our mouths, we tend, one way or another, to say to students, repeat after me.
Yes.
And the students don't really know what they're doing.
Yes. It's a mechanical exercise.
It's a mechanical exercise, yeah, without insight.
And so we don't understand what we're doing either.
That's the problem. And it doesn't matter if you're a native speaker or non-native speaker teacher. We don't know what we're doing in our mouths.
Exactly, and we don't think that we're inside our mouths.
Yes,
visualizing inside and.
It's like having a tour guide who's never been there before.
Yeah.
You go to visit a new city, and the tour guide turns to be completely new to the city.
Or I'm doing it and I'm telling you to do it just because I'm telling you to do it.
Or he's reading from a guidebook.
Yes.
Look, here's a little activity. I say to my students right at the beginning, and I can say it to you right now, and even every day, just imagine that your tongue is a leaf on a tree in the forest. Let it move around in the forest. And this leaf touches some trees, which are these teeth at the bottom here. These trees growing up, these white trees, they're growing up in the forest, and the leaf touches them. And look, there's some other trees growing down from the sky, up there. And the leaf finds these trees which are growing downwards. And the sky at the front is hard, between the teeth, behind the teeth. And at the back, the sky becomes soft and marshy. And down at the bottom, behind the bottom trees, there's another marsh, all soft and slippery. And at the front, there's a window. And when the window opens, light shines into the forest. Now, when we just do that, we don't worry about Latin words and Greek words. We are just feeling the mouth. That is the extent of the mouth. And that's where nearly all the sounds come from, plus a little bit of help from the voice. It's so simple.
Absolutely.
Well, look, let's, we don't have very much time, so let me just, do you want to, are there any more questions that you want to?
Yes, it would be good to hear from you, the audience. If you have any questions, Blanca sent in a question, but if anybody else has a question, we've been looking, or Adrian's been looking, exploring sounds with all of us. Would you like to ask any other question about pronunciation?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's your opportunity now to send in questions. I personally would like to ask. You know, I of course we tend to do pronunciation first. Now we're doing pronunciation. Now we're doing grammar. Now we're doing a reading activity. Now we're doing. You know, we tend to segment and categorize and we don't make connections.
That's right.
In actual fact, what you're saying, it's there everywhere.
We're doing pronunciation all the time.
Yeah.
And if we're doing a bit of grammar, they're doing pronunciation. So once they've got the right words in the right order,
yes.
you can continue to practice the grammar by saying to the students, okay, slow it right down. Now join the words together. Now get the stress right. All of that is rehearsing the grammar.
Yes.
But you're paying attention at the same time.
Exactly. So you're really, you're really maximising all those.
You're maximising it all, that's
yes,
right.
Exactly.
And this means that these sounds are going into the memory synapses with the new language.
Yes.
Otherwise, what goes into the memory synapses is mother tongue pronunciation.
Yes.
And to change pronunciation later, to say to the synapses, excuse me, what you put in there is wrong, we've got to redo it. It's it's not cost effective.
Exactly. Julie Newton, thank you, Julie, has asked, can you help us with the difficulty Spanish speakers have with the hit vowel sound? Heat, E and I.
Well, what I sometimes do here is I get the students to look at me and to make this sound. I mime it, I don't say it. And they all say, E. Okay, very nice. And then I point here. And I point here again, and they say E. And now they've learned E, and they've learned that E is up there. Then I say this one. And I don't say anything, but I say, look at me. I say, what sound am I saying? And they all say, ooh, because they can do that one as well. I say, yeah, cool. Say it again, ooh, and I point. Here we are, this one. What is it? Ooh, what's that one? E. So now they've got these two. And then what I do is to get them to go from here to here very, very slowly. So it's something like E, and then ooh. And somewhere along that line, you will find this one and this one. So I get the students doing this as I've just described, and then I stop them at a certain point. E, stop! And I say, what was that? E. Okay, make it short. E. Go back here. E. Okay, that one. Stop. Make it short. Of course, it has to be short. It's not E. It's short. E. And then this one is long. E. So when I get them to do that little journey from here to here, they have to go through that one. And if I, hey, stop, there, stop, make it short, try it again. Say this one. What you've just said is this. Now say this. Now say this. So they gradually isolate. And the point is, in every single sound, I get students to discover it. I don't tell them it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can listen to me, but that's not how I teach it. I teach it by getting to find it. So that's one way you can do it.
Okay. And if they only listen to the teacher, then the expectations are very high, you know, in terms of I've got to get it right, this reinforcing this idea that there's a right way, and I can't make it.
That's it. If they only listen to the teacher, they do not go in to the mouth and find the new position. They just hear with their ears, and and their muscles go to the old position, which is the mother tongue.
Exactly. Another person, Beatrice, thank you. The most difficult one for Spanish speakers is this one. Hey, how can we teach it?
Well, here again, it helps to go around the chart. So I've shown you front of the mouth to the back of the mouth. Ew. What happens here is the tongue is going back, and in English, when the tongue goes back, the lips come forward. You watch my lips. Ew. You can see the lips coming forward. And as my lips come forward, my tongue goes back. This is tongue back, therefore lips forward. Now, what I can do when we have this front to back, I can start to open the jaw. So I can now go ear, ear, and I hold everything, but the jaw goes down and the tongue in the jaw goes down. There's more space in the mouth. You get a different acoustic. Ear, ear. Oh, and this one, ear, ear. It's more neutral, more central. Ear, ear. Now, yeah. I do the same as I did here, but I make a little journey, an extension. So you open the jaw to get here, open the jaw more to get here. That's not all, because you have to do something with the tongue. But when we are here,
yes,
the jaw is open, the lips are spread. So my mime is like as if there's a muscular tension here, and the tongue is very front, ah, ah. And then we have to make a small difference to ah, and you can feel that ah, the tongue is up, ah, has made more space. And then of course the tongue moves back, ah, and ah. So tongue back, tongue forward, jaw more closed and therefore tongue up, jaw more open and therefore tongue down. So that gives you the four corners of the playing field to move around in. And if you start getting students used to that, this sound will become available to them. It's an extreme sound at first, I know, for Spanish speakers, I understand that. But if you mark out the parameters of the playing field, it will be discovered.
And again, what Maria Jesus is asking about, well, what about words like hat, hut, heart?
Well, it's exactly the same thing.
Principle,
so
yes?
Here we are, hat, hut, heart. Now, the basic movement here is the jaw is open and the tongue is front, and because this is front, the lips are spread. Ah, ah. Now, the same as here, the tongue is going to start going back and the lips are going to start coming forward. Ah, ah, the lips are a bit more neutral. Watch again. Ah, ah, lips not coming front, but they're more neutral. Ah, ah. Now look. Ah, the tongue has gone back, the lips are beginning to round. Ah. And now the tongue goes right back and the lips come right forward. Ah. Ah, 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 ah. So you can help students by practicing these in a sequence and just feeling those small muscular movements. The reason why vowels are more difficult is that consonants have two surfaces which meet, and you can say, yeah, the sound comes from that meeting place. But vowels, there is no place. It's just a shape. And this is how we get those shapes.
Another question, well, from Pilar Prieto. Could you repeat the position of the tongue where it is on the chart? Is the first column voiceless? And then moving to voice. Maybe just resituating.
All of the vowels are voiced, so that's no problem. As regards here, we have front to back of stop sounds. P, b, t, and it's always unvoiced, voiced. Then another position, unvoiced, voiced. Another position, unvoiced, voiced. T, j. Another position, k, g. Each of these positions, there's only 4 positions here, but they're all unvoiced and voiced. And with the friction sounds, the ones that you can continue, f, s, sh. Again, unvoiced, voiced, one position, another position, another. So there's only 4 positions in each, but 8 sounds because it's unvoiced, voiced. If you go to my blog or you go to the Macmillan website, you can find these little tiny videos, or 40 of them, which are on YouTube and which will show you exactly each of these sounds and in a bit more detail what I've been saying.
And the famous or infamous schwa
that
people find difficult, Hazel. How do you teach this one?
Well,
I remember being obsessed with the schwa myself.
Well, everyone, the English language is obsessed with the schwa, and you cannot speak English comfortably, intelligibly without the schwa. So what I say to my students and to teachers is, look, I'm not going to tell you the sound, but you're going to find it. Try to look like an idiot. And they all laugh and say, well, okay, how do I look like an idiot? And I say, well, how you look like an idiot is like this. And the way to look like an idiot means neutral, no muscle in the cheeks, no muscle in the lip, no muscle in the tongue. Now, if you do have no muscle, no tension, what is the sound? Say it. All the muscles relaxed, and you get this. I say, look, what you just said is this. This is the idiot sound. And it's really important in English. So, now, make it very short. And there you are. And long. So, my way of helping students to discover it is to get them to relax all muscles. So then this is the sound you get when you do nothing. And that's why the English is able to use it so much. It is because this sound is nothing. There is no muscular tension. And we go through it on the way to everything else, we go through this one. It's in constant use. It is like the neutral. If you're driving a car, you have in between all the gears is neutral. Nothing. This is the neutral of vowels, and you go through it wherever you are going. Anyway, try the idiot and see if it works for you in your class.
Great.
I think, is there anything else we want to say? We have, the app.
The app, yes.
Get hold of the app. There's a free version, and there's also a version which costs €3 or €4, which is the one I recommend, quite by chance, which has more functionality. And on that you have British and American charts. There's a slightly different chart if you want to do American English, and you can get new word lists, and you can practice all 4 skills. So that's the pronunciation app. There's me in China, where, by the way, the charts are very large. And so you need a long pointer to point at the vowels. And there's some information about resources for developing your teaching.
Great. Well, thank you very, very much, Adrian. Honestly, that was really, really fascinating, and I'd like to go back into the classroom and teach in a completely different way. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, thank you, and good luck to all of you.
And thank you to all of you out there for coming, joining us and participating. I was imagining all of you making all the different sounds with the different parts of your mouth. I was doing it as well. You probably heard some sound effects in the background. That was me. Sorry about that. As Adrian said, you can go to the Macmillan website and see the recordings, these 5-minute or short videos of how to work in a very practical way. As he said, it's not cognitive, it's physical.
That's the way.
So
physical.
let's get physical.
Let's get physical, yeah.
Okay.
And we can just say, look, g, o, d. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody. We hope that you have found these teacher training videos of real use and relevance to your classes. We would like to remind you that you can find many more practical teaching ideas and tips, articles and video clips in Macmillan Advantage. Don't miss this opportunity to continue your professional development.